Yeah, that's nice.
What's up guys, it's Rev J again, and as you can see, I am super excited to be back out in the garage, or at least one of them, with the Hatred Copter C10. The cover's off of it, that means it's warm enough to finally do stuff on this thing again. Now, I apologize if it's a little dark in here. Because of the warmth, the neighbors decided it was the perfect day to put a new roof on their house. Of course, right when I get back out into the garage. But we'll make it work. We're gonna go back and forth a little bit here. The reason I'm out here, aside from just wanting to be out here, is that I got a whole stack of projects that need to get done, and we're gonna start those now. Now, if you watched my videos from last year, you might remember that we went ahead and did all the head work, new headers, and all that good stuff. You'll realize we never really built the full exit for it, right? My old one had kind of a slash cut chrome thing that dumped out the side and put the exhaust right into the fender. Now, I wanted to build something new. I didn't want to go ahead and do the chrome thing again. So I was watching 1320 video. You guys know 1320 video, I'm sure. And I noticed that a lot of the pro mods use those like star-shaped exhaust shields that go around where their cutouts are. But then I was like, man, the star just doesn't fit the look of my truck, right? The shape of this thing, the star would just stick out on the side. It makes no sense. The thing's just an oval tube that, you know, I wanted something a little different, something that fit the flow. So I was like, let's see if I can build a set, right? As luck would have it, I was dicking around and drove through an industrial park kind of near my house, and then realized that there is actually a company there that does custom carbon fiber work for race cars. I went in, talked to the guys, they were really nice, they actually gave me a tour of the shop. I didn't have my camera with me, unfortunately, but they were really cool, and they also hooked me up with a sheet of tight weave carbon fiber, just an extra piece they had laying around from something. I was like, I should just make a carbon fiber exhaust exit, right? So that's what we're gonna do today, guys. That was a very long-winded way of explaining. We are gonna go ahead and build, for the first project, finally, of this year, go ahead and do carbon fiber exhaust sort of exit shields for the side of the Hatred Copter C10. So what do we need to do this, right? Well, the first thing is obviously your base material. We're doing carbon fiber, the piece of 1.5 millimeter, just under 1/8 inch carbon fiber from Prototype Composites. Thank you very much, guys. Like I said, you could do it out of steel or aluminum or stainless. I don't know why you do it out of regular steel, but you can do it out of anything, plastic if you wanted to. I don't know why. The idea is going to be the same. We're starting with carbon fiber. We're also going to need a template or a way to figure out the shape we want to do. We're going to need a way to cut the carbon fiber, which I'll get to in a little bit, safety stuff for that, and some hardware to attach it to the side when we're done. So as you can see behind me, I've already started taping off the area around the hole. Now the reason for that is I wanted to be able to go ahead and measure and not scratch up the immediate paint. Plus it gives me sort of a firm bounding line to measure from on all sides. It's kind of deceiving. There's a rolled edge here on the top that might not be caught on the camera, but we want to go right up to that edge and have this fit as tightly as possible sort of in there. I guess I should mention, we're not doing a star shape. We're going to do sort of a rounded square that matches, more or less, the radius of the fender and gives a clean look on the side. We don't want a weird circle or a star or something, so we're going to do sort of a radius or a rounded square. Alright, so I need to go ahead and do that measurement. Now I already know this is a 3.5 inch hole. I don't need to measure it because I cut the hole. I know the size. But I need to figure out about the size of the sort of flange we want to go around all sides of it. In this case, this is the smallest margin here on the top, right up to that lip. So I'm gonna get the dimension of that and then extend it to all four sides. All right, so I measured that, and the top, the smallest margin there is a little over 1/2 inch, about 0.6 or 0.66 or so. So to translate those dimensions to a template, I'm gonna jump back inside, hop in Photoshop, make a shape of the square that we want with the radiused edges. You can adjust all that right in the program, obviously. Photoshop is wonderful. And then I'm gonna go ahead and print that out onto a piece of paper, which we can then trace onto the carbon to cut out. All right guys, we transitioned here. I didn't have a screen capture on the computer I was printing this from, so I'm just gonna show you guys what happened. Basically, I rounded the corners in a square, put a radius on them, put a radius in the center, or a circle in the center for the cutout, and that is what you have here is the basic printout of what we need to do to cut out of the carbon. I made a couple of them, but they're only on paper, and if we wanna trace them onto the carbon, I want something a little thicker, something I can reuse. So that's what you see going on here.
This is some blue painter's tape just laid out on the back of one of these templates. I'm going to flip it back over and we're going to use an X-Acto knife or a razor blade to cut out the template we need. That'll give us a thicker, more cardstock-like template. We can then use a wax pencil or a Sharpie or something, transfer it to the carbon, and begin cutting. Now, it's always a good idea to make a few copies of a template like this. You never know if you're going to lose it, rip it, break it. Anytime you're cutting or tracing, stuff can happen. So I've got a couple. I've already got one started here with the blue tape. We're going to go ahead and cut this one out, see how it turns out, do some final trimming. Then we can transfer it all over to the carbon, begin the cutting of the carbon, and the real fun on the project starts. Alright, transition again, and we're here on the clearly cleaned off workbench that I totally didn't just clamp a piece of plywood to. I'm going to move the carbon fiber over here real quick, and let's lay this down. This is our base sheet of carbon we got from the guys at Prototype Composites. Again, thanks to them for hooking it up with that. Nice tight carbon weave on this. There's a seam on the end and sort of an off-cut piece here. We're not going to be using that. We can probably get 4 or 5. Let's grab the template here and look. This is the template we just made. Probably get like 4 out of here, something like that. We're going to obviously start with 1. Try to use the existing good top edge here to line it up. Give ourselves some room from that bottom seam, which we don't want to use. Yeah, we got plenty of room in there. Awesome. Alright, so I'm going to secure this down, just kind of hold it in place. Instead of chasing everything out on the carbon, I'm just going to lay down blue tape again and trace it onto here. It'll protect the carbon finish and be a lot easier to trace my template onto some tape than it is this slick carbon fiber surface. So I'm going to go back to my pencil and my wax thing here and trace this out, get my outline, then we can begin cutting. For cutting, I do have a Dremel tool. A regular old cutoff head here, that's really all you need. The nice thin one should be plenty to go ahead and make a nice smooth transition cut all the way around.